Welcome back, you filthy exiles. So we got a bit more information or a bit more speculation around the early access or the speculated early access. So this is the PoE2DB website that currently is being updated as information comes out. There was a second interview that was done at, I think, TGS yesterday, from my understanding. And basically what's come out of that is a bit of shit hitting the fan. The speculated early access for Path of Exile 2, which is the release that's set, or the early access that's set for the 15th of November, they basically come in and say, obviously it's paid, which isn't a huge issue, but the biggest issue here is 6 acts, which were, I guess, committed in all the communication and everything else that's been provided to date. Now we're basically getting a 3-act early access as opposed to a 6-act early access. It is a bit disheartening if that is the speculated truth. The thing is, like, is it fully confirmed? We need something in more solid form from GGG around this. Now, we did know that we weren't going to get all the characters, obviously, or the archetypes first up. So, you know, we're getting Warrior, Sorc, Witch, Ranger, Mercenary, Monk, Unknown, which will probably be Templar, Druid, and Huntress. So we knew all of that with one Ascendancy per archetype. Now, what's really weird here is 30 maps. What does that mean? Are we going to get a hybrid of the endgame? I feel like that might be the case, where we'll get like a bunch of maps into the endgame that previously, like, there was nothing there. But how would that even work? Could that even work? Like, can you even play? Are they just going to be scaled down? Like, there's a lot of questions that come with this. Obviously, at this stage, we don't have any idea of how many skill gems are going to be coming out. Support gems, no idea. Buff gems, which is what they're being called. Monsters and so on. So we don't really know any information about this. But the biggest thing is about the 3 acts. Now, how should everybody feel about this? Well, I've got an opinion over this. Now, I'm known to be somewhat middle line about most things. And not necessarily middle line, but let's just look at this from a point of common sense anyway. So let's have a chat about it. So the biggest issue that I see with this situation is expectations. So I did a video on this a few months ago, and basically what GGG did was they essentially said, okay, we're going to release with 6 acts, and even like there were things that were playable in the latter acts as well. Which alluded to the fact that us, you know, as a community speculated that we would get 6 acts into the campaign. Now, does it matter about whether or not it's 3 acts or 6 acts? I don't necessarily think that's the problem. The problem is that most people will feel like they've been lied to. That then leads you down the rabbit hole of thinking, well, what other things are they telling us that are not going to be coming to the game or not coming to fruition now, or whatever, yada, yada, yada. I think we're in a mindset where we look at it like, and this is a pretty much an everyday thing that we see with game developers now. We look at like Destiny 2, laying off hundreds of people and the quality of the game just totally degrading. Or we look at every other AAA release that comes out on the market now, and basically there's a preconceived notion that it's going to go bad. They haven't told us something, it's going to miss on something, or it's just not going to include finished or polished content. So it's just going to be crap. I think like this is the biggest issue. The issue isn't necessarily the fact that it's half the acts. I think the big thing is we're all keen to play the game and get into it and try it and whatnot. I think part of it is that people will feel betrayed to an element of the fact that, okay, now we're getting less. Why are we getting less? Not only that is we're paying to get access into this as well is going to add fuel to the fire. And that's definitely not going to help the situation at all. But the biggest thing is there have been so many delays. Like I think they delayed it from June, and then it was originally going to be Path of Exile 1 melded with Path of Exile 2 before it was announced that it was going to be its whole separate game at ExileCon last year. So there seems to be a moving of the goalposts quite consistently. Now, is it necessarily a bad thing for them to release less content in haste? I think it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's going to result in better quality control, and the expectation will be set that the quality of the end result is going to be better when it does come out. People just need to be a little bit patient about it. That also being said, when you're constantly committing to things and then you're failing to deliver on those commitments, that's going to just straight up downright piss people off. I am not losing sleep about it. It would have been nice to have 6 acts into the campaign, and potentially we also don't know enough information about why this is happening, and also beyond this point, we haven't actually gotten any real information about the early access. So we're sort of jumping into a lot of speculation and sort of theorizing about, oh, this is the worst case scenario. But what we don't know is they may release the early access and then phase in Act 4, 5, and 6. They might just be in the final stages of polish. We do know that they were working on the end game and whatnot, and they had already had gameplay testing of some of those latter acts and things like that as well in the demos and whatnot. So it's very likely they're still sort of planning to release it. I think it's just like the initial blow of people are just like, oh shit, this is really bad. This is, you know, everything's falling apart around my head sort of thing. I think at this stage, we all just need to calm down a little bit, take it back a step, and just go, okay, we're getting 3 acts. We haven't had any real confirmation of information. We don't even know what the price of the payment is to get into the early access, right? So we don't even know like how to get through the gate, and we're speculating what the end of the track looks like at this stage. So it's a bit wild that we're going that far. Anyway, if you want to talk about it, definitely post up into the comments below. I think it's a good conversation, and I think people just need to let off some steam. I think at this stage, we just need to wait for writer reply from the studio to actually go, this is what's actually happening. In most circumstances, when things it's not necessarily going wrong at all. It's just we weren't informed about it, and one of the problems is, like in many circumstances, most studios just wouldn't give you as much information as what we get provided with Path of Exile, and I think we take that for granted in a lot of instances too. But that being said, I think at this stage, we all just need to sit back and wait for further information and confirmations, true, airtight, solid information to come out, and then draw our conclusions from that point. I don't think this is going to be a nail or a hatchet in the back of GGG, and I don't think this is going to be a massive negative for the game. I think it's not a bad thing, because look at what happened with Diablo 4. It's a great example. Rush the game out the door, cash grab, and now it's basically turning into Diablo 3. And don't worry, I'll be making a hatchet video on that very soon as well. But yeah, overall, probably not worth losing sleep on. Let's just chill and wait for the developers to get back to us and give us some more information. Anyway, if you like these types of videos, don't forget to like and sub to the channel. Don't forget to follow the Twitch and the X, and I will be making plenty more Path of Exile 2 content. But I will see you guys later.